Hi, I'm Rebecca from Little Adventure Shop, and in this video I'm going to take you through all the kit you need to pack for a week skiing for your child. And also, if you click in the link below the video, you'll see a PDF checklist that you can download. Okay, so talking about what you need to take for a ski holiday kind of falls into three categories. First of all, you've got your hardware, then you've got your clothing, and then you've got your accessories. So I'm going to cover all of those in this video. It's really aimed at people that maybe haven't been skiing themselves and their child's going away for a trip with the school, or if you're going skiing for the first time as a family. You just want to know kind of the number of items you need to take, number of thermal tops, this kind of thing. And I'll chuck in a few tips along the way, some little hints and tips that might help make your ski holiday run a bit smoother. So first of all, let's start with the hardware. So with hardware, we're really talking about skis, helmet like we've got here, and then we've got, down here, ski boots as well, and ski poles. So this is the hardware. Now, if you're a beginner skier or going away with the school, basically you don't want to worry about any of this. You just want to hire it when you get to the resort. One little tip is, particularly if your kids are going away with the school, they are going to need to give their foot size to get the ski boots, obviously, and their weight. So if you can give them to them if you're skiing in Europe, in the European size, so like a 38 would be a UK 5, or in and the weight, if you give it to them in kilos, that makes life a bit easier. So the boot size in European size, and then the weight helps set the bindings up for the skis. So yeah, little tip there. Right, so that's the hardware. So really you don't need to worry about it. It's all going to be hired. So let's talk about clothing now. So I'm going to start from the inside and work out. So next to your skin, your children are going to want to wear what's called a base layer or a thermal layer. So it's usually like a fairly close-fitting long sleeve top like this, and then you've got what's kind of traditionally known as long johns. Again, close-fitting, not baggy, not tracksuit bottoms, but close-fitting fabric, long johns like that. They are usually made of synthetic fabric. Try and avoid cotton if you can. Synthetic's better for skiing because if it gets wet, it doesn't. The water moves away from the skin, whereas with cotton it stays clammy and damp next to the skin and can be quite cold. So you would need a top and bottoms. In terms of the number of tops, I would say definitely 2 for a week. If you've got a particularly smelly teenager, you might want to go for 3. And the bottoms, you can probably get away with 1 if you want to, but chuck a couple of pairs in if you can. Again, these are really handy all winter long. They're great for like rugby training in the winter, hockey training, that sort of thing. So hopefully you'll get a lot of use out of those, not just for skiing. While we're talking about next to the skin, let's talk about socks. So this is an area you don't really want to skimp on. If you think about it, your child's putting their socks on their feet and then straight into a ski boot, which has a hard shell. So if you've got a really cheap pair of socks that have got quite a rough sort of toe seam or something, if that starts to rub against the side of the ski boot, it can get really uncomfortable really quickly. So I would say don't buy loads, just buy 2 pairs of socks, but get decent quality ones. So I always look for ones with a sort of merino knit in and spend a reasonable amount of money on them. So yeah, my daughter will be going away with 2 good pairs rather than 5 cheap pairs of ski socks. Okay, so that's next to the skin. Now the next layer is called the mid layer. This is really straightforward. You just need a top. Don't worry about anything on the legs. So just get a fleece like this one. This is like a half zip fleece, which is great, or you can have a full zip fleece. The only thing I would say is avoid anything with a hood, because you've already got like a ski jacket and a helmet and maybe a neck warmer. If you've got a hood as well, it all gets a bit uncomfortable around your neck, around here. So no hood, and also just make sure it's not too thick and chunky. If it's really chunky and thick, it can get a bit uncomfortable under the armpits and just a bit restrictive. So again, a fairly slim line, if you like, fleece. And that will do. You don't need to have anything extra on the legs, because then we come to the outer layer, and I'll just grab these. So these are ski salopettes. Now these are one of those things, you're not really going to get a lot more wear out of them than your ski holiday, quite possibly. So if you can borrow them, that's great. If you need to go and buy a pair, my tips are look for something that's basically a waterproof and insulated fabric, and they should have this at the bottom, which is called a gaiter. And that goes over the outside of the boot. You'll be amazed how many people try and put it inside your boot, and then it gets very uncomfortable. So that stays over the outside of the boot, stops the snow getting up the leg of the trouser. Another little tip is if you've got a sort of thin, skinny child, get one with a pair with braces, because that way they just nicely stay on and you don't have a sort of builder's bum situation going on halfway down the ski slope. So yeah, if you can borrow them, great. If you can't, you need to buy some, just get a reasonable pair. Look at the quality of the zips. Sometimes the very cheap ones have quite cheap zips, and obviously if that breaks halfway through a trip, that can be a bit embarrassing for your child. So borrow if you can, and just look for waterproof and insulated ski trousers. Then a ski jacket. So the thing with a ski jacket, I would say, is make it your child's winter coat. Okay, this one is a bit bright, maybe too bright for school, but you can get much more subtle ones. With a ski jacket, the things you're looking for are, you want an insulated and preferably waterproof jacket again. It doesn't need to be really, really thick and chunky, and also it doesn't want to come too far down their legs. It sort of wants to just come below their hips. So it's not a parka jacket. You want zips, zip pockets, so you can keep like a wallet secure. And the other thing that's really good about a specific ski jacket is to have a zip pocket like this on the arm, and that's for putting your ski pass in, so you can get in through the ski turnstiles in the resort. So that's a really important thing to have. So make sure you've got at least a couple of secure pockets. If they aren't on the arm, they can be on the chest or whatever, that's fine. So a ski jacket, again, if you're looking to save money, make it your child's winter jacket for the whole season. So that's the clothing. I'll just move these out of the way for a second, and we'll get on to the accessories. So accessories, obviously, one thing I might have missed so far is gloves or mittens like these. Again, this is somewhat an area not to skimp on. We've done a whole video about whether to choose gloves or mittens, and if you click up here, you can see this in much more detail. But again, get a decent pair. If your kids' hands get cold, they're going to be unhappy. So don't skimp on the gloves or mittens. Another thing is look for something like this on the gloves. This is called a handcuff, or called a glove saver, something like that. But what you do is you put that through your wrist and then you put the glove on. So it means you're not going to drop your glove when you're on a chairlift, something like that. So that's quite important. Make sure you've got something that does this job. Okay, another thing that you might not think about is this. This is just basically a neck gate or a buff or a snood, some people call them. It goes over your head and sits around your neck like that. Really handy. It keeps the drafts out from going down your neck. But also, if it is windy, what you can do is just pull it up over your nose like this, and it can stop your lips getting chapped and things. So one of those is really handy as well. Okay, your child, if they're skiing in Europe, will be wearing a helmet, and you're going to need a pair of goggles. I would definitely recommend wearing goggles rather than sunglasses. They're much more comfortable, because with the sunglasses, sometimes the arms rub against the side of the helmet. So just get a pair of goggles. You don't need to spend a fortune. Look for a double lens and something with a bit of mirror. And in terms of the sun protection, I'd look for a category 3, and that would be great for most ski holidays. So a pair of goggles and a bag to keep them in, because they do scratch. So make sure your child puts them away in their bag before they pack them into their suitcase. Okie dokes. What else? Right, sun cream. When you're on the slopes, it can be surprisingly warm, and when the sun does come out, and also you get the sun reflecting off the white snow back up at your face. So it's really important to have some sun cream. Factor 50, don't mess around with anything less. And also a bit of lip salve. So this little gadget here, you wear it over your neck. It's got Factor 50 sun cream and a little lip salve on the end there. You don't need tons, because if you think about it, you've got your helmet on, you've got your goggles on. It's only really this part of your face that's going to catch the sun. But make sure it's Factor 50. Okay, and one last thing I'm going to show you, which has just fallen on the floor, are these things. These are ski straps. It's one of those things that just makes life a bit easier, because when you arrive at the resort, your child will be going off to pick up their skis and boots, etc., etc. They may well come away with some of these, but it's worth taking one anyway. This just goes between the ski and then around like that, and it helps keep the skis together so they're not kind of sliding around like this. And really importantly, particularly for a school ski trip, they've got a nice big section here where you can put your name. So when all the skis are together, stored in the bottom of the hotel or chalet or wherever, it's so easy for someone to pick up the wrong pair of skis. So if you've got something with your son or daughter's name on, it's going to make that much less likely to happen. So it's just a little tip, but I would really recommend getting a pair of these. It might save you hours on your skiing holiday trying to track down the person that's picked up your skis. So I think that's everything. If you've got any comments or any other tips, please do put them in the section below. And if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to our channel. Many thanks.